now live.
Ah.
No one's on yet.
No.
I'll tell you, I shall go for mine.
Yeah, just do go a bit higher. So tell me when people do.
Oh, someone has joined.
Ah.
2 people.
Oh, cool. Hello, everyone.
3, 4.
4 people.
Picking up. 5.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm going to wait until, hopefully, a few more people arrive to watch the live cooking demo. Stanley, my son and able cameraman, will be telling me as people come on live, and I will, I'll start in a few moments, I guess. If anyone has any questions at all, please feel free to ask them at this sort of this early stage, and then I'll sort of launch in once we've got a few more people live, hopefully. How many are we on now? 3?
It's gone down.
That's fantastic.
I'm sure they'll come back.
Yes. I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Maybe they just sort of came on. So, I guess we sort of start. When should I start? What time is it?
It didn't say. I've got 4 now. Someone else has joined. That clock's fast. Oh, where's my phone? It's in my pocket.
Don't know. Right, so.
Yeah, may as well start. It's 1 minute past. It's only 1 minute past there. So
oh, is it?
Yep.
Oh, high fire. Is it, of the 4 who are with us already, is anybody going to be cooking along, or are you watching with a view to cooking later? If you're cooking along, let me know, obviously, because if I go a bit too fast, or indeed if I'm going too slow, do let me know, and I can adjust my speed.
Someone else joined.
Cool.
Someone says they're cooking.
Oh, cool.
Ludo Smolsky or yeah.
Yeah. So, is your barbecue ready if you're cooking along?
Someone's Jill McNamara is watching and taking notes.
Ah. Hello, Jill.
Chef Pretty waved.
Hello, Chef Pretty. We should be going. Well, just have a quick look at the barbecue outside.
6 people now. Hold on.
So we'll be doing some of this. Will be broadcast live from outside.
It's the barbecue.
My house. The barbecue is burning away and looking in pretty good shape. As usual, it'll probably reach optimum heat just after I finish cooking, which is just the normal routine.
Ludo says barbecue almost ready.
Ah, fantastic. Right, there is, I believe, some rain forecast. If it rains, we'll have to sort of do it under an umbrella, basically. But we're not going to let the rain dampen our spirits or our barbecue. So we'll keep going. Right, I think I shall make a start now. So, welcome. My name is Joe Lambert. I'm going to be doing the Woodfields Pavilion live cooking event this evening. Ably assisted by my son Stan, who is on the camera. If you've got any questions at any stage, please do ask. I'll try and sort of explain things as I go through and sort of talk about a few little tips that I use when I'm cooking as I go along. Thank you to the Woodfields Pavilion and to Pretty for inviting me to do this cooking event. It's quite exciting, I have to be honest. I'm quite nervous. I've never done anything like this before. I've done a fair amount of cooking in my time, but never to a camera, I suppose. So I'm a little bit nervous. The Woodfield Pavilion, I don't know if you know or not, is a community project, charity run. It's on Tooting Common. It's a venue used for art festivals, galleries. Pretty runs a cafe there as well, and she is organising these global cooking events where people all around the world actually are going to be doing cooking demonstrations. I think this is the 3rd one. Andrew Walker, who I play football with, just joined as well. Hi Andrew. Did the one last week, did a fantastic paella, and Pretty did the first one a couple of weeks ago. both of which were superb. So I've got a lot to live up to. I'm going to have to refer to my notes because I've had a bit of a busy day because I've been prepping today for. I'm going to give a little plug for my business here. I've been prepping today for a fire pit pop-up which I am doing tomorrow at Belleville Brewery at Wandsworth Common, Jagged Way. Do come along if you're in the vicinity. I'm not going to be doing what I'm cooking tonight, although I'm actually doing courgettes, but it's going to be a little bit more meat-based, if I'm honest with you. So yeah, that's going on tomorrow, so I've been prepping for that. Right, so tonight's cooking, what we're going to cook. So we're going to cook charred courgettes with lemon, thyme and toasted almonds. We're doing charred peach with tomato, hazelnut and basil. Jersey royals with charred baby gem, spring onions, peas and parsley. So not every element, but a lot of the elements are going to be done on the barbecue. I'm going to do all the prep first and then take everything outside and sort of cook it. The cooking, obviously, with vegetables on a barbecue is quite quick.
Yes, back on.
Right, apologies. So I'm going to run through the ingredients quickly. So for the charred courgettes, we've got courgettes, lemons, some fresh thyme and some flaked almonds. For the charred peach and tomato salad, we've got peaches. Now these are quite hard actually, but as I said, that's not the end of the world because I'm going to prep them quite early so that they've got a chance to ripen off, and because we're cooking them, that works quite well. So peaches, plum tomatoes. I'm using plum tomatoes. You can use any tomato. Basically, when you're doing a tomato salad, you want to use a tomato that's as ripe as possible, as red as possible. But again, I'll show you a little technique as you're making it that speeds up the ripening and makes the tomatoes more juicy. We've got some basil and some hazelnuts. Finally, we've got Jersey rolls, baby gem, spring onions and some garden peas. Now if you haven't managed to get garden peas and you've got frozen peas or fresh peas, that's kind of fine as well. If you've got the peas out of the freezer just now, that would be great, because actually when you mix them in with the heat of the other things, it's going to make them perfect. I am going to barbecue these because you can eat them whole barbecued and they're quite nice. It does mean the whole thing's a bit barbecued, but it works well. I'm also going to do a dressing with that, with a bit of Djon mustard, some lemon juice from the lemons, and I'm going to use some rapeseed oil and obviously salt and pepper to make that. So yeah, that's it. As I said earlier, any questions at any stage, do send me over a quick message. Stan is going to relay any questions that people have to me. Okay, let's start. So first of all, I'm going to put the Jersey royals on. Now these are actually all the veg is from Pavel in the Hildreth Street Veg Market, who I've been getting my veg from for years at the restaurant when that was around, and for my event. He's excellent. The quality of stuff he has is brilliant, and do go and visit him. Miles better than Sainsbury's. Don't worry about Sainsbury's, although I did get those from Sainsbury's obviously. Here's a pan I prepared earlier. So this is for the Jersey royals. So you want the potatoes to be roughly the same size. I like to keep them reasonably big. So I'm going to make them all about that size. It's not the end of the world if they're not exactly the same size, but generally speaking, you want them to be about the same size. So they cook evenly. Otherwise, obviously, you have some raw potatoes and others mushy and horrible. I'm going to do that twice. So we're going to cook these in salted water. again, when you're cooking potatoes for a sort of salad or something, I always cook the water from cold. If you're doing potatoes for roasts, I always put them into boiling water, so actually the outsides cook a little bit quicker, which means that they go a bit fluffier. They go fluffier and better.
Someone has asked, I missed the start, what's on the menu? Relay it again.
Okay, so I'm cooking 3 barbecued vegetarian salads, basically, or vegetable-based salads. I'm doing charred courgettes with lemon, thyme and toasted almonds. I'm doing charred peach with tomato, hazelnut and basil. And I'm doing Jersey Royals with charred baby gem, spring onions, peas and parsley. All the info, obviously this will be on the Woodfields Instagram account afterwards on their IGTV. And also there's a list of the ingredients and things like that on the Woodfields, feed. If you need to get it, but it's all fairly standard anyway and pretty good stuff. Right, so water, Jersey Royals, good handful of salt, and because potatoes go under the ground, we cover them when we're cooking them.
Someone has asked, do you deliver? Annalise, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry.
Deliver?
Yeah.
What does she mean?
I'm not sure. Annalise, that's her name. I'm not sure.
No. I think the answer is.
Alright. Yeah, no, that's the answer.
Sorry, I'm not sure what that means. Right, so Jersey Royals are on. Next thing is toast the nuts. So toasting the nuts, I don't know about you guys at home, but I always manage to burn them basically. So I'm going to sort of put these on in the background just now. It's only it's a small salad, so again nothing in the pan, no oil or anything like that. Just put that onto the heat. Which is a bit lighter there.
Annalie meant, as in, sounds so good, like she'd want some of what you're making. She wasn't being serious.
I could send my son Stan round on his bike afterwards. I'm sure he's probably going out to a party. So, right, so yeah. So I've got the what do you call it? Hazelnuts are on, and then I'm going to toast the flaked almonds after the hazelnuts are done. And I've got to, as I said, you've really got to watch them. They just hardly go on for any amount of time. You're just trying to just slightly toast them, just warm them a little bit, and it sort of brings out the flavour of them. And I'll do the flaked almonds next. Right, next I'm doing the tomatoes and the peaches. So I'm going to do the peaches first because I'm going to put them in, because they're quite hard, what I want to do is I want to speed up the ripening process. So I'm going to put them in a little bit of sugar. And actually, because it's a savoury sort of salad, I'm going to put a bit of salt and a bit of pepper on them as well. And what it'll do is it sort of macerates them a little bit, which so that when you put them on the barbecue, they caramelise well. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put these into a bowl. So when you're doing peaches, if you cut them round the equator, so to speak, first, then you can twist them and it comes straight away like that. Then with the next one, if you go around that way and then again give it a twist, it's a really easy way, he says, of getting the stone out. Like that. So I'm going to put these into the bowl and then we're going to cover them in a bit of sugar and a bit of salt. Just quickly go check the hazelnuts, they're fine.
Rosanna McNamara has said, I love peaches but don't have a barbecue. Can the recipe be done with an oven or a hob at all?
Yeah, absolutely. If you do, probably the best way to do it would be to use like a griddle on a hob or as a heavy bottom frying pan. So you're getting a little bit of heat into the frying pan first and then so that they caramelise as they go. You want a bit of the charring as well, which is the beauty of doing it this way, is because you get that charred flavour, which is why I love cooking with barbecue. Basically, I do most. I don't know, a lot of meals. I've got a barbecue sort of just outside, so I use it a lot. It also stops, because I cook like I'm in a professional kitchen all the time. It stops it setting off the smoke alarms in the house, like that. So there we go.
Yeah, wait, turn towards us.
What's that?
Turn towards the camera.
That's what. I've managed to burn the hazelnuts, of course. But I've caught them just before, so I'm going to take them out and put them into a bowl and sit them ready.
Oh,
yes?
Ludo would like the peach technique again, please.
Yes, I'm just going to do that one again.
One last one for you there.
Right, that's the flaked almonds going on to toast now. Try not to burn these.
Show them. Yeah, you can see them.
Right, the peach technique is, so you cut it round the equator first of all, so round the equator, then you basically twist the top and bottom, and this works with ripe peaches or unripe peaches. Sometimes you'll sort of lose a bit of the flesh on there, but it still sort of works quite well, even when you do that. And if it's a bit stiff like this one is, because these aren't very ripe, just work it out with a knife like that. Right, I'm going to put those almonds into the bin, because I just burnt them immediately.
Multitasking.
What's that?
Too much at once.
Yeah. So I'm going to take another pan that I prepared earlier. So yeah, I'll put those on. I won't forget about them this time. Right, peaches.
Pretty says, awesome, it already looks so good.
Oh, thank you. So I'm going to put the peaches into here, and then I'm going to put some sugar, just a sort of dessert spoon basically, onto the peaches. Again, this is to sort of start the sort of maceration, and it sort of speeds up the ripening. If you were doing this for a dessert, I would just leave it with just the sugar, and that's just plain unbleached granulated sugar, but you could just use granulated sugar or any sort of sugar really. So because it's savoury, I'm going to put a little bit of pepper and just a little bit of salt on it. Not too much, and then mix those about, and they're ready now to go on the barbecue in a wee while.
Rosanna McNamara says, do you need this if they are ripe too, or just if they need some softening?
Do you know what? I would do that even if they're ripe, unless they're really, really ripe. I would do it. It's a good thing to do with them, because the sugar on the outside of them, when it hits the flame and the heat of the barbecue, that caramelizes, which gives a really sort of sweet flavour. So we'll turn the Jersey rolls down now. I'm actually going to stay here with the almonds because I don't want to burn them. So again, the almonds just went into a dry pan. We'll get a little bowl ready for these. And I'm going to leave them there. So they're toasted there.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, show us the colour.
What's that? There we go. They're probably slightly under, but better slightly under than slightly over.
Yes.
I like the way you keep that.
as well.
Right. Those spuds are going there.
Ludos Mosky asked, what happened to the peaches?
The peaches have gone there.
Yeah.
So they've just got the sugar, salt and pepper on them, and they're ready to go on the barbecue once I've done all the other prep as well.
Yes. No liquid, just sugar. Yes.
Yes. The sugar will bring out the liquid from the peaches, will bring out the juice, and it's sort of a bit like you macerate strawberries. It's a really good thing to do with strawberries. Basically, before if you're having them for pudding, you mix them with a bit of sugar. It's a little bit unhealthy, but God, they taste really good when you do it.
Jonathan Roseweir says, looks great. Could you use another fruit with this recipe?
Yes, you could. Hi, Jonathan, as well. You could use plums. No, actually, plums probably wouldn't go with tomatoes, I don't think. You could definitely use nectarines. But I find the peaches and tomatoes go very well, actually. So I'd probably stick with peaches or nectarines with the tomatoes.
Marek Decorating has said he likes the kitchen, and Nick Marusa says, nice haircut, Joe.
Thanks very much. That's courtesy as well of Stan. Not only is he a cameraman, but he's also a great barber. And he's open for appointments now as of tomorrow. His appointment book is open if you want to look like me. Right, tomatoes. So nice ripe plum tomatoes, and this is another little trick that you can use if the tomatoes aren't as ripe. These are really good, and I chose plum tomatoes because they were the ripest. But you can use whatever tomatoes you want. You're just looking for red and a bit of softness on them. So we're going to cut these up. I'm going to cut them the same way as the peaches, so that there's a bit of continuity in the shape.
Yes.
If I was at the restaurant, I would cut that bit off. I'm not, so I won't.
Ludo says, this is great. Shout out to my sous chefs, George and Sonny would be ace.
Well, there you go. There's your shout out. Hi, George. Hi, Sonny. I was supposed to have somebody helping me today, but the call of the TV has become a little bit too much for her. So she's not helping me. But that's lockdown for you. Right, there we go. So again, with the tomatoes, if they are a little underripe, or regardless of whether they're a little underripe or not, it's good to sort of macerate them basically, just to get them sort of going. I've stupidly chosen a container that's too small. So I'm going to switch to a slightly larger container. And nice pinch of black pepper and a good pinch of rock salt. And a little glug of olive oil. Now, I would use a little bit of balsamic vinegar, but unfortunately, in all the excitement this afternoon, somebody put the balsamic vinegar in our drawer here, didn't put the lid back on properly, and it was lying on its side. So all the balsamic vinegar is sort of in the bottom of the drawer, so we can't do it today. So that is just olive oil, salt, pepper, and we're just going to leave them. I'm going to put them over here because they're not being barbecued.
Yes.
And they're ready to go into the salad in a moment or three.
Sarah Ash says, loving the veggie options, Joe.
Thank you very much.
And Pretty says, I love the knife. That one there.
Yeah, yes, it is a knife. Actually, knives and sharpening. You notice I've got my steel here. Although this isn't my main steel, it's actually not my main knife as well. I left those at the restaurant. But sharpening knives. It's good to sort of basically sharpen a knife as regularly as you use it, basically. Every time I use the knife, I kind of sharpen it beforehand to keep the blade nice and sharp. If it goes dull, it's harder to get it to come back. Some people use stones and things like that, but that's if you're in a professional kitchen, fair enough. But just at home, get yourself the best ones are the oval steels with the diamond sort of dust on them or something. And you basically just keeping it at a nice angle, just draw it away like that to keep a nice honed sharp edge on it.
What type of knife is that then? That's what Annalie is asking.
Do you know what? I've got no idea. It's been with me for a long time. It's not a sort of special make. I've kind of, I'm not chefs have amazing knives. I don't. I just kind of use something that I quite like. It's more how it feels in my hand is the most important thing. Right, I'm just going to check the potatoes with a knife to see. Find one. There we go. So they're not going to take too much longer. Probably about another sort of 3 or 4 minutes, I think. Where am I up to? Peaches, baby jam. Time to do the baby jam. So, when you're cooking vegetables on the barbecue, a little bit of water with them is a good thing. The water goes on the barbecue and then sort of steams, and it sort of helps the cooking process so that it's not kind of raw flame that's doing it. It's also steaming it slightly, so it means you don't get too much of a char on the excuse me, on the vegetables, but they are sort of cooked through. So with the baby jam, now these again are in really nice condition actually. So I'm going to give them a bit of a wash, but first I'm going to sort of cut them. I'm going to cut the bottom bit off, but you literally just want to take a wafer thin slice off there, just the sort of bad bit. If you take any more, the leaves start falling off. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut these into quarters. These are actually arguably a bit on the big side, these baby gems, but they'll sort of shrink a bit as they're cooking, so they'll be fine. If the leaves drop off, you can either just keep them with it or just stick them in the compost. So again, excuse me, I'm going to go. So basically you can see I've cut them into a wedge, a little wedge like that. I'm now going to put them all into the bowl, and I'm going to fill that up with water and give them a bit of a wash. Then drain them off, and again a wafer thin slice to get the bottom core off. In half, and then in half again, or in quarters. Okay? So, I'm going to give these a wash. I know what I'm forgetting, and that's why I'm coughing. Because I have noticed in the previous weeks, everyone's been having a drink while they've been cooking. And I'm cooking at home, so I guess I should be allowed to have a little drink, I think. So I'm going to get myself a beer. Bear with me.
Annalise says, wafer thin, nice Monty Python reference.
Thank you. Right, a beer. Other beers are available. In fact, while I'm on it, tomorrow I'm doing a pop-up at Belleville Brewery, Wandsworth Common, Jagged Way. If you want to come along and see me, a fire pit pop-up. And the next one after that will be the 18th of July at Inkspot Brewery, at the Rookery at the top of Streatham Common. I don't know if any of you have been to them before, but they're great fun, and basically a barbecue at a brewery is quite a good thing to have, I think. Anyway, cheers. Right, potatoes. Let's see what these are like. So choose the biggest one, obviously. Yeah, they are perfect. Right, so drain the potatoes, and we'll just leave them sitting off to the side. They can cool down. The baby jam, just going to give it a wash. Again, as I said, it's going on the barbecue. If there's a bit of extra water in there, it's not a bad thing, because once it goes on the barbecue, it'll steam quite nicely. Right, so drain the water out of it. And then again, to get it ready for the barbecue, I'm going to put a bit of cracked black pepper, and a bit of rock salt on it, and a bit of oil. Now, because this is going on the barbecue, the oil helps to sort of lubricate it and gets the flames going around it, etc. But it doesn't really flavour it. It's more of a vehicle for the heat, if you like. So I'm just using normal rapeseed oil for that, just bog standard rapeseed oil. Where it's something that you would taste, you would use a cold pressed rapeseed oil or a cold pressed olive oil. So I'm going to dress these in the oil, salt and pepper, and they're ready to go on the barbecue in a few moments. Now, right, next up is the spring onions. Again, the spring onions you can leave, I leave the sort of hairy bits on the end there because they will mostly burn off on the barbecue. I've given these a clean. If there's any sort of dirt on them, you want to wash the dirt off. The kind of scabby bits don't matter as much because they kind of burn on the barbecue basically. I'm just going to take the ends off them, but you kind of don't really need to do that either. And again, I've given them a wash already, so I'm just going to pop them into. See, I knew I wouldn't have enough containers. I used the one I'd used for tomatoes. I'm going to pop them in there and put a little bit of pepper and a little bit of salt and a little bit of oil. And coat them in the oil. Right, that's the next thing ready to go on the barbecue. Okay, next bit of prep is the courgettes. Now I said 4 courgettes, I actually think that's going to be too much. So I'm going to do a bit less than 4 courgettes. So prepping the courgette, take the end off, obviously, and the top, although, I mean, you could cut it like that, because that's quite a nice sort of shape, but I'm going to take the whole lot off. Then we're going to cut it into slices to go on the barbecue. We want the slices to be about half a centimetre, I think. So if we take one slice like that, I like to leave the skin on because I think the skin's quite tasty. Same with it. So once you've taken that side bit off, then it will sit flat, and we can cut. Yeah, see, they're too thin.
Ludo says spring onions weren't not in ingredients, and I didn't read the name of the dish.
That I do apologise. Do you know what? It doesn't. It's fine without them. You don't need them. And I'll do them on the side. I sort of put them on because actually it was when I trialled these dishes on Sunday. And I had some spring onions, so I sort of did them, so that's why it went on. But apologies for that.
And Hart Streatham says, when's the next Shutters Up at Inkspot? Should be possible to social distance there.
Yes, it would. There's a whole common to social distance on. I believe it is the 18th of July. The 18th of July is the next one. But that's to be absolutely confirmed. As far as I know, they're doing a farmer's market and so forth there. The Rookery sort of are organising that, so we're sort of doing a pop-up as part of that. Fingers crossed. Right, so that's the sliced courgette, and again, basically I'm just going to sort of dress that in a bit of salt and a bit of pepper. You could put some flake chilies on it if you wanted to. That would work quite well. Woo! Right, so I'm dressing these.
Ludo says, not a problem. As a carnivore barbecue person, this is great.
All of these dishes, of course, would work well if you were sort of meatily inclined. All of these dishes would work really well as sort of side dishes to fish or meat on the barbecue. But I quite like vegetables on the barbecue, actually. This is sort of a relatively new thing for me, but they're things like baby jam, cabbage, when they're done on the barbecue and you get a bit of chard on them, they are absolutely fantastic. Right, so peas, again, peas are going straight in there. I'd already washed these. They are from, again, from Pavel and the market, Hildreth Street Market. A little bit of oil, bit of pepper, a bit of salt, and let's dress those. They're ready to go. Right. Need to.
Pretty says that slicing smooth to watch.
Oh, cool. Thank you. When you've done as much slicing as I've done, it's it becomes like a sort of second thing. So I'm going to do some lemon, some lemon segments basically to mix with the courgette salad. So cutting the bottom off and cutting the top off, a bit like you would do for an orange or a grapefruit. So you're sort of cutting round, and this is where, when you've got a little cut on your thumb like I have, it's really painful. So there we go. So I'm just going to cut these end bits off.
Joe McNamara says, "Is that parakeets in the background?"
It is.
Yeah.
My neighbours have got a cherry tree, which is like the most ridiculous cherry tree in the world. It has it's got so many cherries on it. It's incredible. As a community, we can't eat them all. There's so many, so they go mental for them basically, and yeah, wakes me up every single morning, which isn't so good, especially at sort of 5 o'clock in the morning. Right, so I'm segmenting the lemon to go with the courgettes.
Ludo said, "What's happening here? Text was in the way." If I do it like that, explain it all again.
Okay, sorry. So this is the lemon. So I've peeled the lemon, cutting the peels. I've flattened the bottom and the top so it sits neatly, and then I'm just segmenting the lemon basically. I'm going to pick out the pips in a moment or three. So you cut inside each of the segments, just along the sort of the line of pith. And then drop the segment in. You don't need a lot because lemon's quite a strong flavour, so I'm just doing one lemon like this. Right, that's done. Just pick out the pips quickly.
Got 12 viewers.
Woohoo! Right, lemon's done. So, where are we up to? Peas, courgettes, lemons. I think that's kind of all the prep. So we've got the flaked almonds, the burnt hazelnuts, which I'm not going to show you, the flaked almonds, the tomatoes, the lemon, the thyme's here, the basil is here. Actually, should we just pick a bit of the basil so that's ready to go as well? So again, I would put the basil quite coarsely, as in just whole leaves basically, because I think it makes looks very pretty. So I'm just going to pick the leaves off and put them in with the tomatoes now, because that's where it's going. Here we go. I'm going to have to apologise to my son here, because this is taking slightly longer than I thought it would, and I promised him he'd be able to go out to a party. So it's not a party, it's a gathering. Don't call it a party. So yeah, I'm apologising to him. He says I don't have to apologise. Anyway, so that's that. We need to do the dressing as well. I'm going to make the dressing just now. Again, I didn't have this on the ingredients, but a jam jar is great for making dressings.
Rosanna says, just a note to say that lives can be up to 1 hour, so there's 20 minutes left of this session.
Yeah, I should be alright actually. Cool. Because the barbecue stuff doesn't take long. So a little bit of rapeseed oil. I'm going to use some lemon juice in this for the acidity. So squeezing a lemon into there. Again, I can pick the seeds out later. Actually, I don't think this has any seeds. Conveniently. So for this, I'm doing about the same: lemon juice and a little bit of pepper, a little bit of salt, and it's amazing how quickly the time goes actually. Can I start a little bit later? And a teaspoon of Dijon mustard. So that is going to go into the jam jar. This is for the Jersey Royal salad. So again, lid on the jam jar, give it a good shake, hopefully which shouldn't leak, and there's your dressing made for the Jersey Royals. Right, barbecue time I think.
Ooh.
I'm not mistaken. Right, so we're going to take all these bits and bobs outside. You got a free hand?
Yeah, sure.
Right, outside to the barbecue I prepared earlier. So, and that's the rain. Just starting to come on, which is fantastic. Right, so...
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm just going to sugar the coals around a little bit. Just to sort of got a nice even heat. My barbecue sort of... The coals raise up and down, which means I can sort of control the heat quite well, which is quite nice. But the best way to control your heat on a normal barbecue is just sort of stack the coals up to one side, so you've got fewer coals on the other side, and you want to have a variation so you can move things around quite a lot. So I'm going to start with the courgettes, and I'm going to work quite quickly with this because I'm a little bit conscious of time because of the Instagram has an hour on it, so I might
18 minutes left.
18 minutes still to go.
Yeah, we're alright.
We've got to build all these salads together though as well, so let's do that. And I'm going to also cheat again so that I can do it a little bit quicker. Now, apologies to, is it Ludo who's
yeah, with spring onions, yeah.
You might have to sort of take a little bit longer over this, but I've got my gas side of the barbecue, which is a bit of a cheat. But I'm gonna use it to sort of put the spring onions on and start them going as well. I hope you don't mind. So again, the courgette, you just want to sort of char them a little bit. They've got quite a high water content. The oil helps them to sort of stop sticking to the oil, to the grill. Another way of doing it is actually to brush. If you get a paper towel and brush the grill with oil, that actually works quite well as at sort of keeping things from sticking. But let's have a look and see how these are getting on. Yeah, you can see the sort of the lines are sort of appearing on them a little bit as we go. So it's a sort of decent heat.
Marek says, old good Dijon mustard. I also use a really strong one from the Czech Republic, bought in a Polish shop in Tutin.
Ah, okay. What's that called?
Yeah.
Because I like a good strong Dijon mustard. I mean, that was May that I used, but a good punchy mustard. And actually, in the Eastern European countries, they do some cracking mustards out there. Great with sausages.
We can just restart if we run out of time.
Okay.
Good idea from Ludo there.
Thank you. Right. There we go. So these are sort of going. I might the what do you call them? Spring onions.
Yeah.
Are sort of coming along nicely here. Now they cook quite quickly, and you don't want to burn them too much because they get a bit too sort of bitter. And you want to get the white parts, which is obviously the hard, strong flavour bit. You want to get that cooking nicely. Again, if to speed up that, you can always add a little bit of the water, which then steams. If there's a bit of oil in there as well, a little bit of flames doesn't go amiss. I will sometimes put a little bit of oil on a barbecue to get the flames going in order to sort of slightly caramelise things. But these are sort of pretty good. I'm going to move some of the cooked ones up to the top and leave the slightly thicker ones on for a bit longer. Let's see how these are doing. Yeah, they're getting there. Now, how well you like your courgettes cooked is kind of up to you. I quite like slightly, with a bit of a bite to it. So I'm not really going to cook it too much more than that. Right, that's the spring onions. So I'm going to put those back into the container. The good thing about cooking with vegetable is you don't need to worry too much about cross-contamination. After it's cooked, obviously with meat, you've got to move the raw meat containers away, but with vegetables, it's great. Another advantage. Right, peaches. So I'm going to do the peaches on this little griddle bit that I've got here. Actually, I'm saying that, but I think, no, I'm not, because it's a little bit dirty, actually. I lied. Right, I'm going to take these, I'm going to just get a container to go and put the cooked courgettes into. It's okay? Shan't be a moment. Where have all the containers gone?
I'm not sure.
Right, so these are nicely cooked. Like I said, still a little bit firm. With a little bit more time, I might have kind of maybe charred them a little bit more, but you can see they're sort of quite nicely done. So that's courgettes are done. Right, now peas on the barbecue are quite tricky because you really don't want to lose them all. Now one thing you can do is when you use one of these baskets sort of things that holds them in, or if you get the grill, yeah, because that's dirty. If you get something like this and put that across, it'll hold them in place a little bit better. And let's quickly whiz these on again. They shouldn't take, you see I've lost one already, shouldn't take too long. You just want them to sort of bubble and char a little bit. Again, I'm going to get a little bit of oil to sort of put on, just to sort of speed up the process a bit.
Everyone is agreeing with your problem of losing all the containers and lids.
Funny thing is, I used to criticise my mum because she had millions of containers and lids when I was growing up. They used to say, you never need that many. But actually, she was right. We do need that many. So these are sort of getting a nice smokiness to them. They start to sort of swell up as they're cooking. And again, the moisture inside them sort of steams the peas. These are really nice just as a little snack or mixed in with the salad. But they're quite nice just in a bowl before starting a meal or something like that. So while those peas are sort of cooking, I'm going to start doing the peaches. So the peaches have been sitting, macerating. You'll see there's a little bit of juice underneath them. And again, I'm placing these on the barbecue. I might have done a little bit too many of these actually. And it's a good idea to remember which ones you put on first. Whoops.
Put in the hole.
Which ones you put on first, so that you can turn them in order. There we go. So the peach juice I'm just going to drizzle over, and again that sort of steams them a little bit, which is quite nice. I'm not going to reuse this container because it's got a lot of raw sugar in it, so I'm just going to leave that to one side. So the peas are kind of there now. Again, you want them to sort of swell up. Losing quite a few here actually, which isn't very good. My barbecuing skills are very poor. Whee.
Marek says mouth-watering food.
Thank you very much, Marek. That's very kind of you. Right, peas done, courgettes done. It's actually raining a bit, so I'm just going to take these quickly inside, then I'm going to come back and do the jam. After I've turned the peaches, they're starting to get nice and hot. Now these peaches are actually, the sugar hasn't done wonders with them. They're better than they were before, but they're sort of...
Would you say to use more sugar than you have, or...?
Yeah, I think so, maybe. Maybe sort of coat them a little bit more with it when they're a bit on the unripe side. Is that your question, Stanley?
It was.
Very good, very pertinent question. Right, baby gem. So again, there's a bit of water, a bit of oil in here, and these ones really should cook sort of fairly quickly. The barbecue, arguably, is probably not quite as hot as it should be. But you see, I'm just putting them down. Obviously, we've got 3 sides to cook with them. And again, just remember which order you put them in, so that you can know which ones to turn first. And so there's a little bit of water and oil left over, which I'm just going to sort of drizzle over.
Anneli says, could you leave the peaches in sugar for longer?
Yeah, you could. That would work. That would definitely work better. They're sort of not bad. They're not bad actually. They will still. They would still taste pretty good. But you can see where some of them are sort of caramelised a little bit more than other ones. You want it more of a sort of a browning rather than the kind of spotting and burning like that. But they will still taste lovely, I can assure you. Right, peaches and the gem. So again, the gem lettuce cooks very quickly. So you do want to be working this quite fast. So I'm just turning it onto the other side now. That. How am I doing for time?
The time is 7 minutes.
There we go. So
We can just start another one.
what's that?
We can just start another one.
We'll see. Right, so they're going. So you see I'm closing the lid on them just to sort of generate a little bit of heat inside. I'm going to pop the baby gems back into there and the peaches back into here actually. If that's alright.
Marek says, and who is going to eat all of this great food? I hope you have more than just 2 of you.
No, there are. My other son will be coming back very shortly, and my daughter is around the house somewhere. My partner is away cold water swimming somewhere, I think down in the quarry near Godmanstone or somewhere like that. So she'll have some when she gets back. So you can see on the baby gem, you're getting a nice little bit of charring, and it's cooking through the harder bits there. It's actually quite a weak barbecue, this. Obviously all barbecues vary depending on so many different factors, so you sort of adjust it depending what it is, but it's quite good because it's cooking that slowly. Right, these peaches I'm going to whiz off now. To be honest with you, if I had a little bit more time, I would probably give them a little bit more time. So a bit more time with the sugar and maybe a little bit more time on the barbecue as well. But they'll still be really tasty. And the sort of the sweetness that it's given from where the sugar has caramelized will make them very, very tasty indeed. So that's you're looking for more of that than that, basically.
Rosanna says, are you open for collection any chance? Social distance, of course.
What, from the house?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it might. If I've got any leftovers, maybe I'll sort of send out a post. Right, I'm going to close the lid on the gem. Turn off the gas barbecue because we're done, I think. Mm-hmm. Stick the peaches through here.
Shall I follow?
No, I'm going to get the baby gem, and then it's almost time to build the salads. So these smaller bits of baby gem I'm just going to take off now because they're sort of cooked through.
Marek says his wife is also into cold water swimming. You guys have a lot in common, cooking and brave wives.
Yes, it's been, obviously with lockdown, it's been quite difficult. Good for your mental health, apparently, cold water swimming. I'm led to believe. I think that's why my partner needs to do it. Living with me isn't very good for your mental health, so. Right, there we go. These are all looking pretty good. That's quite a big one, that. So I'm going to leave that on for a little bit longer. But these ones are done. Actually, no, I want a drink, so I'll do that. So, leave the barbecue to go. We managed to avoid the rain. Let's go back inside and build the salad now. Right.
Yeah, I say we end it now and restart another one to build the salads.
That's a great idea. So, yeah, hopefully you'll all come back and join us in about 2 minutes. We're just going to stop this one and start another one immediately afterwards, okay?
Alright, cool. Just texting that.
Make sure you save it. Make sure you save it.
Yeah, I will. Alright. And
there's a picture on my